World English Online.
Have you ever heard anyone say, "Hey, so-and-so jumped the shark"? Now, let's be clear. Not jump over the shark. This would be a worse idea than merely jumping the shark, which is also something you want to avoid, but for very different reasons. In fact, you may have jumped the shark before without even knowing it. This week on World English Online, we'll look at this popular new idiom, where it comes from, what it means, and how it is used. Learning new idioms is a great way to speak any language in a more expressive and creative way. In fact, native speakers use them all the time.
All your options.
So if your goal is to sound more natural, then using idioms in everyday conversation is a great way to go about it.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Another great thing about idioms is that they fall in and out of favor with the times. Idioms of the day are often linked to what is socially relevant and culturally distinct. So the fact that different English-speaking societies have their own idioms underlies the uniqueness of each Anglophone country. Origins of idioms will give you an idea of what aspects of culture influence language. What makes Jump to the Shark unique is that not only is it new and wonderfully visual, its origins can also be directly traced to a popular television show. Happy Days was a popular American television series from the 1970s and 80s that took a nostalgic look at American life from the 1950s. One of the show's more popular characters was Arthur Fonzarelli, better known as the Fonz. This motorcycling high school dropout started as a minor character, but quickly became a series regular because of his catchphrases and for being the embodiment of cool. During the 5th season, which began with the cast taking a vacation in Southern California, the Fonz was challenged to jump over a live, contained shark whilst water skiing. After a very long build-up, the Fonz succeeds, jumping over the shark and being greeted by the Happy Days cast with congratulations and open arms. However, to many people, Fonzie jumping over a shark epitomized the turn Happy Days had taken from a show rooted in common American experiences to one that relied on exploiting its most popular character. And even though the series lumbered on for another 7 seasons, to many fans, the moment Fonzie jumped the shark, Happy Days was no longer the show it once was. As we can see from its origins, Jump the Shark does not have a positive connotation. Its broader meaning is that of losing one's way, or doing or saying something beyond what is reasonable. It is comprised of the verb jump and has an object, the shark. It can be used with any verb tense, including the passive. Keep in mind that with the passive, you have to use the shark as your subject, and then conjugate or change the verb accordingly. Also, notice the object, shark, uses the definite article the, meaning the action that leads to someone jumping the shark is specific. Some of you might be wondering if you can use the plural, sharks, or indefinite, a shark. Examples of these may exist, but nearly all uses of the idiom keep the definite article. Now this isn't surprising because, as we know, individual words in idioms normally don't change. With that said, however, since this is a newer idiom, it hasn't quite been set in stone, so creative people might be able to experiment successfully using different articles. Additionally, while it can be used as a standalone expression, a sentence like "he jumped the shark" doesn't contain the necessary information to have the intended meaning. Rather, people will more likely take the expression literally, or in the very least it will raise some eyebrows. In other words, they may think you know a man who has jumped over a shark. And this is why you need to make sure you have a broader context when you use it. For example, it works great with complex sentences like, "I know Joe thinks of himself as an author, but he really jumped the shark when he quit his job to write that novel." One last thing, many definitions on the internet emphasize its usage in television and the movies, which is understandable given its origins. But if it remains limited to this narrow application, then it is far less useful than it deserves to be. Alright, let's take a look at a couple of examples. Here's the first one. I understand why some people become vegetarian, but fruitarianism is jumping the shark for me. While I imagine everyone knows what a vegetarian is, fruitarianism is an extreme form of vegetarianism, where people only allow themselves to eat foods that fall from trees, like fruits, nuts, and seeds. So, we can see that for some people, fruitarianism could be jumping the shark. Okay, here's the next one. While some people thought Google Glass was a revolutionary product, others thought Google jumped the shark. Now, a lot of people really liked the idea of augmented reality, but there was also a strong social reaction against it, since it could secretly record people, and it created social confusion because you were never sure with whom the glass wearer was communicating. And finally, we have sharks were jumping with the advent of the musical genre country rap. This musical genre mixes country music and themes to a hip-hop beat. There certainly is an audience for this type of music, but for others, country rap would definitely be an example of jumping the shark. Now have a go with Jump the Shark yourself in the comments below. Let's see if you can think of some other terrific examples using Jump the Shark. That's all the time we have for today, so we at World English Online want to thank you for watching our video. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to our video feed and like the video below. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page. Thanks again, and we'll be back soon with more
World English Online.